In this video, we're looking at Bitcoin and how I have reverted back to this particular view, this particular count. Now, it's because of other analysis across a lot of basically all the top 10 cryptos that I've come to this particular view. And what it basically means is that Bitcoin hasn't topped yet. It hasn't seen wave 5. It's only seen correction since 2017-18 high. And we're basically looking for another move down that could be at least as long as the C wave. So I do believe the D wave is basically completed at the moment. We have seen a reversal, at least the first sign of a turn. And what we would have seen completed is that pattern since the end of 2022, where we saw this move up with a complex zigzag pattern. And it's basically a type 1 zigzag in RS wave terms because the expansion came back to the end of the first move up before it took off and produced the final move. So at this point in time, it's given enough evidence to suggest a short position. If you're taking the view of regular traders, they typically don't care about waves. They typically trade zigzags. So they'd be looking for a 50% pullback. So they'd probably be trading this down as well. Institutional traders and other short sellers would be looking for that type of pullback. 50% level is pretty important. So therefore, it all aligns pretty well with all the other analysis for other cryptos as well. So I'm fairly confident that this is about to roll over and start producing a wave E. Okay, the wave E being the last move in the correction, finally, since 2017-18 bull run. Finally, it will end probably either mid next year or if it decides to go longer, but I have a feeling it could be around that time. That usually there's a bit of time similarities between wave, the first move down and the second move down. Not always the case, but typically. And my count did change within the zigzag simply because, that the final move did extend higher than expected. I did expect it to go higher, but not that much higher. It didn't really show any signs of turning around, so I adjusted the analysis. And basically what I have here is a zigzag that had a complex B wave, but within the B wave you had a B wave that had a short wave C compared to the first move up. It did correct a little bit shallowly in a shallow manner, which produced yet another type 1 zigzag. So even though correction did expand above, it came back down, and then it produced this small move. I didn't think it was part of that because it still is shorter even than the first part. So that's not a problem so much as that basically there's a CDE pattern here as well. Now the CDE pattern is what you're seeing on a large degree as well, the CDE, where you have basically the C, the small d, and the E. Like if you have a look in this area up here, you can see that there is a zigzag in between these two moves, what appears to be a weak 5-wave move and then a sharp 5-wave move with basically a wave 5 that was pretty long. This is the only count that I am sticking to at this point. It's almost kind of irrelevant at this stage because we've seen the length of wave A for wave C, and we've actually gone a bit above it. So that's at this point in time, when I produced that other idea was around this area down here. So because it did go that high, it forced me to relook at this correction, and that's why I believe now that's it. This is it for wave D. So basically, after I thought it was going to go down, it went a little bit higher, but then it never really produced any uh, proper correction, breaking the previous high and then continuing higher. Kind of just it makes you relook at the whole thing. So I suppose after we see this move down, we'll go for wave five, um, and that should top out Bitcoin's 5 wave move since the beginning, since inception, and we should see price go lower. Um, I believe it will go lower than where it's going this time round. Definitely not only just to confirm that the trend is over, but also because there will probably be other broader economic activities going on that influence the markets. It won't be purely just a crypto pattern related. I think um, a lot of different markets will reach a certain juncture where basically the patterns meet and basically they form the same pattern, the same type of corrective move. Whereas this pattern here is a little bit different than Ethereum's. Um, it's still going to eventually produce a similar pattern, which is going to be a 5 wave move to the downside, which will be the crash that I have been looking for a while. So even though I am bearish, I still do believe that after this move down, we will see another all-time high. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But at this point in time, this is my view, and yeah, take it with a grain of salt. Um, Obviously, if you see prices move lower, it'll just confirm that we have a complete set of corrective patterns, which can then basically provide the evidence to go long for basically a move that will be similar to the move that happened from 2020 to the end of 2021. Um, and it's interesting also that this particular move, even though there are different waves in here, it will Ethereum will produce a similar move, different waves, but a similar move. Okay, so it's going to be basically based on this move here in Ethereum, right? It's going to be based on this move. So we could potentially see quite a nice number in the future, quite a nice move up, especially when you take into consideration that traders do look for a pullback, see some kind of zigzag pattern, and they trade it up, regardless of what you think these patterns are. This is the type of view that they take. So we could see $150,000 Bitcoin by the time it tops, or if it goes a bit lower, it could be a bit lower, whatever. The point is that this is the kind of path that my Arias wave interpretation leads me to believe is the most likely outcome for Bitcoin and also other cryptos. Thanks for watching.